when the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis and Jared DuBois live on a Wednesday night. Should have been on about 26 minutes ago. I'm not going to get into it. I've already accused.
For the podcast listener, they'll never know.
This is true. They have no idea that I didn't get my computer working. I mean, it was, all right, we don't need to get into it. Doesn't matter. We're here live on a Wednesday night to do a radio program or a podcast, live podcast program. I'm so flustered, Jared. It's been a while since I've had to deal with something like that.
I know usually if there's a technical issue, it's on this side, or like there's something that's going wrong. Is like, hey, we can't hear you or something like that.
So many discussions about Jared's poor mic technique. You guys have no idea. It's like, Jared, move the microphone closer to your mouth.
The problem is, okay, watch. I'm going to show you something. I go, this is where I want it. Watch what happens as soon as I let go. My microphone has a constant erection. Like, it won't stay down.
How did I know that was going to happen? You know what?
I got the Viagra microphones over here.
Because I had to throw this together on the fly. When my impromptu setup. This is not how things are usually connected. I had to plug things into different places. I don't know if the board works. This is why I signaled to our intrepid producer, Nikki Soup and Salad, to play the open to the show. Because I don't know what happens if I play it. Can you
keep putting stuff in different holes till it works, dude?
Can you hear that? Did you hear anything just now? No?
No.
Okay, see, that's what I'm
Is
saying.
it in yet? Oh, I heard that.
Ooh, now I'm getting feedback on that.
I'm not.
It's like an echo in my ears. That's Double J Rodius. Nobody needs that. Nobody needs Double J.
I'll be honest with you, no one does.
I did play that, by the way, so don't think that you played that.
I see. Listen, okay. That's not cool, man. I'm trying to check things out.
I'm sorry.
Clearly, they're not
We're
going down the
troubleshooting
line.
Live on the air.
They're not going down the line from my end, which is whatever. It's fine. The main part of the show is you and me working through some soccer stuff. Let's do that, right? We have a roster for a January camp, Jared. Is it worth doing?
Yeah, of course we're doing it. It's the U.S. national team. Of course we're these are the seeds of which we will harvest in 4 years.
This is the cupcakiest camp cupcake that's ever been camp cupcaked. You know what I'm saying?
It's ever been baked.
This is like a gluten-free cupcake or a fat-free cupcake or a cupcake where the frosting is made from like arugula.
No, you know what it
something.
is? It's a vegan cupcake.
What is that? Ew, how do you even do that?
How are you going to make a cupcake without butter?
I don't know how you...
Is there butter in cupcakes? I don't even know.
This cupcake is topped by an Englishman that nobody really wants around. I wonder how Anthony Hudson feels right now. Like,
come on, he's okay. It is different because, like, back in the day, the last caretaker manager we had was Dave Sarakin. Remember Dave Sarakin?
I do.
Everybody's favorite uncle. And that's the thing. Everybody likes Dave Sarakin.
Dave Sarakin has a couple of jobs right now. I think one of those jobs. Do you know what one of those jobs is? It relates to your
getting into small spaces.
Okay, he's not a large individual. That doesn't need to be said. But what do you think Dave Sarakin's doing these days that might be of interest to me? Me specifically, me. Which you
is he
know
getting a show on
me.
Sirius?
No, he's not.
I hear they're giving this up to anyone.
He is coaching. I'm not. This is within the world of coaching soccer,
coaching youth teams.
I'll give you a
hint. In the DMV area.
If Dave Sarakin continues in this job for another, let's say, 16 years. My son, Mr. Thiago, could play for Dave Sarakin. Could be eligible to play for Dave Sarakin. What do you think Dave Sarakin is doing?
So you just said U16 coach for U.S. national team?
No, try a different route. Let's say
youth club coach for DC United.
Let's say Thiago's not good enough for the U.S. men's national team program, the U.S. youth programs.
He plays for Canada.
Okay. Do you not know me? Do you not know things about
Puerto Rico?
Me? There you go. You finally got there. Dave Sarakin is the head coach of Puerto Rico right now.
No way.
Did you know that?
I had no idea. I had no idea.
Yes, that's one of the things that
but
Dave Sarakin...
But what I'm trying to say is that Anthony Hudson is going to get a
destined
lot.
to be
He's
the
not.
coach
He's not
of
Dave
Barbados.
Sarakin. Where Dave Sarakin was always the lovable guy that was always a Bruce Arena's side. You
Yeah.
know, like who didn't like Dave Sarakin? He's always in the background. Anthony Hudson got hired. Everyone was like, who?
No, we knew who because everybody went,
I don't think the
he's-
average U.S. soccer fan knows who Anthony Hudson is. I don't think they have any clue.
Maybe.
Any
But
clue.
those who do know think of him as the guy who sucked at Colorado and blamed his roster for why he was in last place and then got fired.
And then
That's-
didn't they win the season right after that?
They brought in Robin Fraser and they finished
Yeah.
first in the Western Conference. Yeah, that's what happened with Anthony Hudson. Yeah, that's a claim to fame for one, Mr. Anthony.
But listen,
Hudson.
the guy he's cannot be in serious consideration for the job.
Well, let's sure as hell hope not. Let's hope not.
So all his
because-
job is his only job is to not crap the bed, okay, and
Well,
get some young players some experience.
Hold on, don't you have to have a bed in order to crap the bed?
We don't have a bed.
Like I feel like the man's on a cot in like the mud room. Like we're not even clearing out real living space for him. Like he's underneath him is tile. Like there's no carpet, there's nothing warm, there's no fireplace, there's no hot cup of cocoa or tea when you welcome him in. Andy Hudson's on a cot, and as soon as he gets another gig, out the door. Let's go. As soon as we get somebody else to replace him to
Now,
move into the house.
From a career's perspective, how do you put this on your resume? Is this a good thing on your resume, or is this not a good thing on your resume?
That's a good question.
I was national team coach
hold on.
adjacent.
Do you think that if he put interim U.S. men's national team head coach and somebody later on called up U.S. Soccer and was like,
Fact check.
yeah, we're checking to see if Mr. Anthony Hudson was indeed the interim, it says interim head coach U.S. Soccer, U.S. men's national team? No. That's not what Anthony did. He was like, he was like the guy who put out the cones, and then we just didn't have anybody around, so we let him be the
Can we call him
cone guy?
I've always been a fan when people are, first of all, going by Anthony instead of Tony, it's kind of pretentious, but British, so I get it. But let me go
Hold on.
further.
You
Okay.
you might catch this. People who are listening might catch. Somebody correct me if I am wrong, okay? But I remember interviewing one Anthony Hudson, and I'm saying Anthony because that's the way he says his name. I'm pretty sure it's very much like Anthony Robinson. I know he spells it differently, and it is spelled Anthony. I'm pretty sure they don't say or Anthony Hudson does not say Anthony the way that you and I would say Anthony.
No, see, I got a buddy named Anthony,
Anthony.
that he's Italian. I call him Anthony.
You don't.
Anthony.
You're gonna be Mona, Angela, Mona, Angela.
I'm gonna call him Anthony. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Tony.
Be like
that's
Anthony.
That's a Tony. You gotta. That's a Tony. This is an Anthony, or an Anthony, or an Anthony Hudson. I don't
It's
know.
like Anthonius.
So okay. So he's
Either
in
way,
charge.
he gets to call on a Cupcake roster.
Yeah, sure. These are his choices. Absolutely, 100%.
And listen, I don't think he got it wrong for what he has available to him. Non-FIFA window.
It's not him. This is what I'm saying to you. It's not him.
Who do you think picked this roster?
So to that point, my man here in the chat, our friend down in Tampa, Nicholas Murray, I think Ernie Stewart picked this roster. I think Ernie Stewart and Brian McBride picked this roster.
So you're telling me that he's so interim,
Yes.
he doesn't even get to pick the roster.
Yes, 100%. I'm telling you that.
What kind of
100%.
bullshit position is that?
What does he do? Why does it matter? If like, why would you give him the responsibility?
Then why doesn't Ernie Stewart just go on the sidelines and coach the damn team?
Well, that would get weird. I guess I don't know. Ernie's never been a coach. He's always
So
been an executive.
what you're saying is that we don't have a shadow squad. We have a shadow management.
Yeah, but it's like
By the way, this is the shadowest of shadow squads. This one right here.
this one's pretty shadow. This one's pretty deep in the shadow.
This is Dark Side of the Moon.
There's a couple of guys in here that are like, oh, okay, sure, he's technically eligible to play. And it's not that I'm not trying to hate on them. And congratulations to a bunch of guys who got called into this team for the first time. But did you think you were going to see Jalen Neal's name on a U.S. men's national team roster anytime soon, Jared? Did you? Did you?
No, but here's what I think happened with the Jalen Neal. And first of all, you're not going to find a Galaxy fan that doesn't love Jalen Neal.
Ooh, I gotta just piggyback here. This is good. The puppet show. It's a shadow puppets show. That's what this is. It's shadow puppets. That's what we're dealing with here.
Listen, I'm happy for Jalen Neal. I think what happened, I think there's probably a defender that was kind of a last minute pullout, and Jalen Neal is in LA, and a guy they
This is
want to
why
try
I
to
need
give
the-
some.
This is why I need the board. I'm so disappointed. I don't have the board available.
What,
to me.
last
Go ahead,
minute pullout?
continue. Last minute pullout.
But here's the Galaxy fans love Jalen Neal. And by the way, if you're not following his mom on Twitter, he has a great
so
Twitter
excited.
mom. She
was
has a
so
great
excited.
Twitter mom. She is such a champion for him and the Galaxy all the time. Like she's a great
You know what she
follow.
would never do, Jared? I'm gonna guess. I don't know her. I don't follow her. I'm not on Twitter anymore.
Let's not throw stuff out there about the
I'm just
people's
saying,
moms.
she probably wouldn't call up a coach and be like, "Hey, I know this thing about you. Will you please lay off my kid?"
Well, up until a couple weeks ago, you didn't know who to call at the Galaxy. Now I guess you have to keep calling Chris Klein.
Oh yeah, there's a whole boycott over that thing.
Listen, I have the guys there. He's there for some experience, probably filling some numbers at practice, but I'm happy for the dude. But there's a lot of names like that. Maybe not quite that deep because Jalen Neal, I don't even know if he's got many minutes at all for the Galaxy in general.
I don't think he has any senior minutes for the
But
Galaxy.
he's a stalwart, I believe, on the U20, U23 teams.
Yeah, man, that's a thing. And then look, obviously, this is also an opportunity to get some U23 players in with the Olympics coming because the U.S. did qualify for the Olympics. I'm going to go through the roster, and in our grand tradition, you stop me when you want to talk about somebody, and I'll do the same thing.
I might stop you when I've heard of a person.
That may be a good idea. So the goalkeepers are Roman Celentano.
No idea who that is.
Could you guess what team he plays for?
Only because I happened to guess or look over there just now as you're doing. I won't look anymore. I'm going to minimize the screen.
Okay.
So I know he plays for our boy Nicky Soup and Sausages FC Cincinnati.
He does indeed.
I now have that window closed though.
Okay. Sean Johnson. Without a club.
Well, without a club right now, but maybe Toronto, I'm guessing.
Toronto is being whispered about, but apparently at least some people think he's still
no issue with the Sean Johnson call-up
with NYCFC. And then Gaga Slonina
of Chelsea FC.
Sure, technically
who's
speaking,
the starter for those two? Who's the starter between those two?
I think
in a camp cupcake.
I think Sean gets a start, and I think Gaga gets.
I think you're right too. I think they each get one.
They each get one. Defenders: Jonathan Gomez. Jared, you know this kid, right?
Is he at Sociedad now?
He is at Sociedad. He is not yet broken.
Interesting that he took the call up.
He accepted a call up for the December camp in 2021. Well, if you remember that, he was in that.
Yeah, is it St. Louis at that time, right?
He was with. He might have still been with Louisville City. It's Louisville. City.
Louisville. Excuse me.
Yeah, the USL Championship. He hasn't really broken through at Sociedad. He's been playing some reserve games there, some developmental games, some youth games. I like the kid. He's talented. I know. Again, going back to Nicholas Murray, I know he has a lot to say. 2021 USL Championship Young Player of the Year, right there from our man Nicholas Murray. I think people are excited about him, and we need left backs. So I'm not going to hate on this call up, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people wanted to see him the last cycle, maybe because we were so thin at that position.
Julian Gressel, who I feel like should come to camp painted from head to toe in red, white, and blue.
I'm happy for this one, man. I've been a fan of Julian Gressel for a while. I'm always happy when a guy chooses the U.S. like that and works hard for it.
Do you know that Julian Gressel has a podcast, or did? I don't know if he's still doing it these days.
Is he at Vancouver now?
He just got traded.
How did he get his citizenship if he left the country and went to Vancouver?
Well, so this has been done. Kakuta Mane did this when he was playing for Vancouver. He lived across the border in Washington to make sure his residence was the United States of America. I think Julian was pretty close to the threshold for citizenship before he got traded. And then there's a bit of a process. He has a soccer podcast, Jared. We've actually talked about this because I think they talked some shit about Gonzalo Higuain on that podcast. Fabian Herbers does the podcast with. You know what it's called? I
used to know. I don't remember.
One of the reasons I like Julian Gressel and Fabian Herbers for that matter. It's called Z Soccer Podcast.
Yeah.
Which is just, come on, you're German? Why not lean in, right?
Yeah.
All right. So DeJuan Jones.
DJ Jazzy Jones.
Sure, you can call him that to his face.
Oh, I will.
Happens. Okay, DJ Jazzy Jones. He's another left back. Now, he's a left back that plays on the left despite being right foot dominant. So that's important to kind of keep in mind here. But there's 3 left backs in this team, and I'm going to get to the other one here in a second. Aaron Long. Any issue with Aaron Long?
I'm just happy he ended up at LAFC and not the Galaxy.
Wow,
it was a close one for a while there.
You think he's going to crash and burn over the bank?
I just didn't want whatever they were going to have to pay for Aaron Long. I didn't want the Galaxy to pay. I think he's going to get overpaid for what he's going to contribute.
You know,
at this point.
if you're the Galaxy, you just move that off the books a little bit. You know.
Yeah, and then you get your contract extended once you break the rules. That's how it happens too.
That's what you do. Jalen Neal, we've already talked about him. Yep. 0-0. I love a good 0-0 on a U.S. men's national.
There's a lot of those in here.
0.0.
But this Camp Cupcake's what's supposed to be.
Sam Rogers. Jared, do you know Sam Rogers? Are you aware of Sam Rogers?
Ooh, I don't think I could tell you what team he plays for.
Is Sam Rogers the name of one of the real name of a superhero? I feel like that's the name of a superhero.
I think you're thinking
What's Captain America's actual name?
it's
not
something
Sam
Rogers, and I'm blanking on it right now.
Rick Rogers, Joe Rogers, Tommy
The
Rogers,
chat will tell us in just a moment.
Ben
but it is
Rogers. I actually don't know any of this stuff. He plays for Rosenborg in Norway.
Oh.
And the reason he's available, as far as I know, is
Winter break?
because they're on their break.
Steve Rogers, according to Morgan.
Oh my God! I just looked down to see her gesturing? Holy crap,
She was
man.
going crazy.
I
over
thought
there.
she was going to lift off. It's amazing. Steve Rogers. That's right. I went through all the common names. Anthony Rogers. Oh, that's better. Anthony Rogers is definitely. Let's see. Where are we on the roster? I just got through.
Sam Rogers.
I might have just accidentally closed the
I can open my window back up.
I got it. John Tolkien. He's the other left back.
That's Disco Pony. I want to see Disco Pony. That is the one that I'm really interested in watching. I hope he gets both games. I hope he gets significant minutes both games. That's the guy that's one of the guys that has a real potential to launch himself in this next 4-year window.
The only thing about, and I don't mind this necessarily because I do think you can mold him and all that, but John Tolkien is 100% a product of Red Bull Soccer. He is a Red Bull Soccer player, right? He is go, 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 go.
His hair looks like it's sponsored by Red Bull.
In that, look, he's not gonna be maybe effective as a stay-at-home defender. Is all I'm saying. Like he needs to be up the field. He needs to be pressing. He needs to be playing with energy. Something to keep in mind. Walker Zimmerman is the other defender here. They're going to slap the armband on Walker, and he'll be the veteran presence.
You need someone to set the tone.
Midfielders, Paxton Aronson of Eintracht Frankfurt.
Wait, are we dual Paxtons in this as well?
We are dual Paxtons with slightly
Dual
different
Paxtons.
spellings. Double packs.
Double barrel Paxtons.
Packs and packs. We're
a 2-pack.
We did this, I think. We talked about this. If this happened,
Really?
It would be 2 packs. Yeah, I think we did.
2-pack?
2 packs. It's hard. Packs, not
There's something
pox.
there. I just got to figure out what it is.
There's maybe a history joke with Pax Romana in
When
there
they both get called up, you could say it's poetic justice.
Okay, sure, you could do that. Sure.
I'm impressed Morgan knew what that was.
Yeah, you know what? The national team fans, this team, this camp, this moment, California love for these guys, right? It's all about that. All right, let's see what else we got. Keep your head up, Paxton Aronson. Okay, your thoughts on him? Though,
Germany's in their winter break right now as well, so maybe I'm a little bit surprised to see them let him come back to the U.S. for this. It just kind of shows you that he's not in their immediate plans in the Bundesliga.
Well, he's
also
young.
coming off a long off season.
He's young, and I don't have the board, so I can't play the drop myself. But I will say that while I was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for the coaches convention last week, I talked to a guy. I think his name was Klaus. I'll have to go back and look at it. Klaus something works for Eintracht Frankfurt, and before I even got on the air, he was like, "Paxton Aronson is impressing people already with Eintracht."
He's got to say he's at the U.S. coaches convention. What's he gonna be like? Yeah, this dude showers in sandals.
I don't think this is actually really good. 2 of America's most wanted. Paxton Aronson, Paxton Pomykal. That's actually pretty good. All right. I don't know that he would have. I don't think this is the kind of guy. He's German. He's just going to give it to me straight. I don't think he was going to BS me. So Paxton Aronson, regardless of whether or not he's impressing people with Eintracht Frankfurt, is in this national team camp.
We find him very impressive.
So he's going to be one to watch in this group. I hope he gets some playing time. I want to see him play. Kellen Acosta, which is the second LAFC.
Yeah, I thought he wasn't
player in the
coming. I
group.
thought there was rumors that LA wasn't going to
There
release
were.
him.
Again, I'll reference the radio show, which I'm pretty sure you're aware of. I think you know. Have we gotten you that free SXM?
Yeah, isn't there a classified
subscription?
ad for like a friend, like every once in a while to come on that one?
WNBC. WNBC.
Are you sharing things that I might have said in the
Oh, my
Bestie
bad.
Slack? Yeah,
My
you
bad.
have to pay for that information, my
Oh,
friend.
sorry, I didn't know that was out in the open.
Yeah, so
If only you knew someone.
I had John Thorrington on my show this very day, and he,
Let me pick up that
you
name
know,
you
he
dropped.
gave the diplomatic answer, but he said basically like, we have a good relationship. We sat down, we talked to U.S. Soccer about this, and also the games at the Bank of California Stadium, and we felt like we could release these guys and it would be okay.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I learned this from Ricky Pouge. Like It's a lot of travel in LA. I mean,
No, you can't walk. You can't walk anywhere in Los
Getting
Angeles.
to the Home Depot Center from where he lives got to be tough.
By the way, I think that's fake news. The Ricky Pooch hates LA.
Oh, I
'cause
believe
he
so
can't-
as well.
He
I
can't
believe so
walk.
as well.
Yeah. Aiden Morris, Columbus Crew. I like this because, well, I think Aiden Morris is talented. And number two, the kid came back from an injury. He was supposed to launch himself, and then he gets injured.
I'm sorry. What name did you say?
Aiden Morris.
Oh yeah,
Aiden
from Columbus Crew. Yeah,
Morris. Aiden's a good name. We need more Aidens in the world.
really good in that really good postseason push they had a few years ago. It's unfortunate that he's been sidelined for so long.
Can you name another Aiden?
Brody? Wait, no. let's see.
Adrian Brody.
Oh, it's
Adrian
Adrian.
Brody.
Aiden. Oh yeah, the guy from Sex and the City. The guy from Northern Exposure.
That's
His
an
character's
Aiden?
name was Aiden. I
Oh,
think.
character name. Okay. Well, I guess that counts. I was going to go with Aiden Quinn. Do you know Aiden Quinn? the
Oh
actor?
yeah.
Okay, there's another Aiden. There need more Aidens out there. Let's see. We got Paxton Pomical. That's the other Paxton, the second of America's most
Man, can you
wanted.
imagine how much the U.S. soccer is going to explode if you get both Paxtons in the midfield at the same time? Who's the third person that's going to make? Who's the third meme midfielder that you got to put in? That's on this roster right now. What's the meme choice?
It might be the other guy. It might be the next guy on the list, which is Alan Senora. So
Yeah,
I can't tell you that I know how good Alan Senora is.
yeah. I
because
just read
have
people's
not
reports about him. I've
seen
never
him
watched it
play.
myself.
Okay, have not watched a lot of the Argentina Primera. Okay,
A lot of rumors that he may be coming to MLS as well.
yeah,
right now.
they don't pay in Argentina. They can't make payroll most of the time in Argentina, and there's lots of other stuff going on down there, and inflation's out of control. And I hate that for Argentina and for their league, but it might be a reason for Alan Senor to find a new place to play in America. I hope he's as good as people think he is based on what he was doing at Independiente. I really do. I hope he's that player. I hope he can.
I mean, this is what this camp is for, to show. So, but here's the thing: if you put all three of them, though, I mean, Sonora's, if I remember correctly, he's a offensive midfielder or box
He is
to
an
box
attacking
most,
player,
right?
as
Yeah,
far
so
as I'm aware.
like you're not going to have any defensive midfielder if you put those three guys in there together.
Well, I think Paxton Pomical at this point is more of a.
It does feel like he's transitioning. Doesn't it feel sad that it feels like Paxton Pomical's transitioning at this point?
Well, I think it's the way that FC Dallas plays that kind of put a bunch of guys ahead of him who are more
Well, it's the injuries, too.
ball-focused attacking players. And Paxton's job was mostly he's more of a Darlington Nagbe. It's sort of the way Darlington Nagbe, evolved. Remember, it was Darlington Nagbe scores worldies. That's all he does. Oh, look at Darlington Nagbe in Portland. He's this superstar attacking player. And then the world kind of woke up and moved on. And then
Alan
went,
Sonora's father is a player.
Um,
JTT saying, can Jared name all the MLS teams that Alan Sonora's father played for? Who's his dad?
That's a good question.
GDD hijacking the show. I thought Jason's going to know this. I can't believe that's something that Jason didn't know.
I don't think I was aware of this, to be honest with you.
So,
I
I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe JTT can jump in here in the chat and share that with us. Because of our technical issues, I do not have phones up. I don't know how that would
that's
even
right.
work right now.
Jason's working like on one
We
foot
could probably
right now.
do it. I just don't have it up. Should we do it? All right. I'm
No,
getting
go
the.
for
I can bring the
high
callers in.
Nicholas Soup and Salad is going to do the call stuff. I mean, I can log in and get this all set up, Nick. So let me do that. And if people want to call in, maybe JTT, who won't get his normal.
Or if you want to talk the roster.
I have his drop.
Oh,
Okay.
Nick is so good. We don't give Nick enough credit. He's
I know.
always ready, man. He's that booty call that's always up. He's always up. You don't have to text you up. You just show up.
We do have somebody who wants to talk roster already on the line, and I will get to that in
Let's
a
finish the
second,
roster
but
and we'll go.
Let's finish the roster, you and me. So, Alan Senora, who is, as you said, unattached. Eric Williamson, who is an intriguing player.
There's your
I wish
defensive midfielder.
this had happened 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
I would
for
love
Eric
to see a
Williamson.
lineup that has Williamson and both Paxtons in it to start.
I think that might work. Although I don't think that Eric Williamson is your classic six. So there.
No, but I don't think you need it. I think that's okay.
Okay, I mean, in these situations against B or C Serbia and B or C Colombia, who knows? Forwards are Paul Areola, Cade Cowell. I think this is. I mean, I think the hype train is starting to slow or has slowed dramatically on Cade Cowell. And I don't think that means he can't be a great player or a very good player, but he had such a sort of flashy burst onto the scene with San Jose, and he's so physical. He's so physically impressive.
Well, it's also this camp is a little bit bring guys in that before Mexico can. I mean, he is a dual national.
Maybe.
I mean, another guy we're going to talk about in a second. And we have Jonathan Gomez in this. You know, there's a couple guys. This is the most Latino focused team I've ever seen any national team get called up.
Okay,
and that's one of the hits, right? What's one of the classic hits on this program? It doesn't flush out, keep, and translate Latino use into the national team. So it's nice to see that there's a little bit of that going as we start a new cycle of saying, hey, let's pay attention to around here. Let's not just let's look for some of this. How do we bring this in? How do we not lose people to others, just lose it to the system or lose to Mexico in general?
All right. So next up is Jesus Ferreira. You know, I know people are down on him because of the World Cup, Jared, but you know, he's still got talent.
Cool to watch him play against Colombia. That's a cool thing for him.
You're not going to toss him out just because the World Cup was tough for him as a very young player. Matthew Hoppe. This is 100% reclamation on Matthew Hoppe.
Oh, and the meme. Can you imagine? That's another one for the meme lineup, man. You put Hoppe in there in the meme lineup.
Yeah, he needs, I don't know, didn't work in Spain, hasn't worked at Middlesbrough.
I mean, he scored 2 goals for Middlesbrough youth, I think, a week ago or so.
They keep dropping him into those U23 teams or whatever, and it's like they just don't, whatever it is, they're not seeing it. So I don't know. Emmanuel Sabi, this is also another one. You know, this is a guy who probably needs to get out of, I think he's in Denmark, right? Odense in Denmark. He needs a new club. Get him into the national team picture. Maybe somebody goes, oh, that's an interesting player. Let's go out for him. Maybe MLS is a place that Sabi needs to end up at this point.
Yeah, I know nothing about that player.
Yeah. Brandon Vasquez, who is a dual national, who has said
we got 2 Cincinnati players in the national team.
Brandon Vasquez said he has not been contacted by Mexico, so there is that. I do think he deserves a shot to do something. I think Brandon Vasquez is better than Camp Cupcake in terms of his future. I can't promise you that he's going to get a look under whoever the next coach is.
We've got a report from Morgan, who was just at the MLS Upfronts or whatever the hell they call him. And she's telling us that Jesus Ferreira right now rocking a blonde mullet. So John Tolkien has some competition in this lineup.
Jesus Ferreira rocking a blonde mullet. That feels... his dad did some interesting things with his hair, right?
He never went blonde, dude. I don't think he went blonde. I don't remember him being blonde.
I think that's right. I think you're right. Probably not ever went blonde. I feel like there's a mullet involved, though. I feel like there's a mullet. Colombians do like to go.
There's
crazy
a lot of mullets
in
Colombia back in the day, at least. I don't know about modern.
That's
times,
a thing. Okay, so Brandon Vasquez, and then finally Alejandro Zendejas of Club America. This was the controversial player who
a little bit of a coup.
Eligible for Mexico, apparently played for Mexico despite not filing a one-time switch because he had played for the U.S. at the youth level. FIFA said, yep, he's still eligible. Mexico, I don't know if Mexico got slapped with a fine or anything. I think that investigation might still be ongoing.
Also controversial because Club America is saying they haven't been asked about it and he's not going.
I saw another story that Hercules Gomez put on Twitter that said that they're fine with it. So I don't know. It might be crossing the
because they're in season right now, aren't they?
They are starting the Clausura. They are a couple games into the Clausura. That is true. So
interesting.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Any final thoughts on those names before I go to the phone lines?
Nah, I got 2 callers, man. Go for it.
Okay, so let's go first to Felix in Chicago. I think I got him up. What up, Felix?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy New Year. I don't think I've talked to you since the New Year. So I don't know if the statute of limitations of saying Happy New Year has ended yet. Probably has. First thing, you guys were kind of talking about Alan Senora some. I have actually, because I have Paramount Plus. I think they did put Argentine Premier games on. I have seen some of his games. So the kind of player he is, I think if you're going to think the national team right now, he's probably the closest competition to probably De La Torre in terms of like the way he plays. I don't think he's as dynamic in terms of trying to get all over the pitch like De La Torre does, but Senora is much better with the ball. He's left-footed. He's a left-footed player. When you watch him play, he always hovers around the ball, especially with his teams in possession. He's one of those types of players who's always moving the ball. The moment he gets it, he's already like moving it, usually positive up the field. He's always like maintaining possession. He's not the best in the tackle, but he'll like try and like stop passing lanes, things like that. He's not very good in the air at 5'3".
When you describe that, Felix, when you describe that, and I'm putting pieces together in my head, I see, and like I've never watched him play, but just the way you're describing him, I see the hype that we had for Jose Francisco Torres.
That's a similar thing. I would say the thing, and I remember him very well, Jared. I agree with you from that perspective. The one thing I will say about Senora that I think puts him above Paco Torres is Alan Senora takes all the set pieces for Independiente. So he took all their corners, he took all the free kicks. He could hit a free kick too. He's not just some guy who slaps it. He actually couldn't. So he would score free kick goals, and he was a bit of a poacher in the box. So he would like float on the box, kind of float back post, hang around back post, and he would just kind of find himself in areas where a ball would just kind of fall in front of him, and he would get a pretty good shot off or even score at times too. So I think that's where he's better than Paco Torres was, who I do remember very well. So that would be that really short thing I gave. That's probably the way I would describe Senora. The thing that would worry me about him, and I used to push for him back, like a year and a half ago when everyone was screaming about this stuff, is the thing that would worry me about him is that he's not the greatest in the tackle, and he's not very good in the air. So if you're going against like a Honduras or a Panama or something that's like hyper physical, I could see him struggling in games like that because he's just going to get lost and he's just going to get completely out physical. And that would be my concern. But his ability to kind of maintain possession and move the ball around and doesn't really lose the ball. He's really hard to kind of get the ball off. The way he kind of sprays the ball around, he kind of always moves it, keeps it positive. I would say that's his positive. Anyway,
so more of also you would say more of a pocket player then, not really the guy that advances the ball like a Musa or anything like that, but more of a pocket player.
Yeah, he's not going to advance it with his physicality, right? Like how Musa just takes it and just runs. That's not him. He's much more like, maybe
underneath the nine,
being a defender or a midfielder. Yeah, but getting he kind of plays deeper than that. So he pressures the midfielder or someone's getting pressured, and he's 10, 15 yards away, and he's there, and he's already looking over his shoulder, and you get him the ball, and he's already moving it forward. I would say that's kind of more the way he plays. He's not like a classic 10. So anyways, that was what I was going to say about Senora. I agree that Alejandro Zendejas thing I think is interesting. Jared, I agree with you about all the Latinos on the team that jumped out at me as a Latino myself. You rarely ever see more than one or two, so this is a roster that's very Latino friendly that warmed my brown heart. So one thing, if I can jump off of the roster stuff and kind of get into something probably a bit hot takey, when you're kind of already talking about coaches, I hope, and I'm sure the commentary I kill me for this. I hope it's not Jesse Marsh. I have a feeling that they're kind of biding their time, them as in Ernie Stewart and McBride, that they're biding their time, basically waiting for him to get fired from Leeds. Well, and then they're gonna hire him. I'm being that's my thoughts and why I'm saying not Jesse Marsh. I think a lot of people are kind of blinded by the fact that he coaches in the Premier League. When you look at his coaching record, it's mixed. At best,
well, I don't think that's
the higher the level.
Felix, I don't think the issue is
and then my other issue,
record.
And then the other issue, you're probably going to say it is I think is the fact that he's a system coach. He's a system coach who plays a very physical style, right? Hyper pressing with the team, and we're talking about not the guys on the roster right now, but we're talking about our best players, right? Like the guys who played in the World Cup, who have a hard time staying healthy. I think that's a bad cocktail. I don't think Marsh will work. I think he would just be a much more polished media version of Berhalter.
Okay, here's the thing: every club coach, to an extent, probably should be a system coach. So I think it's a bit unfair. I understand what you're saying, but I think it's a bit unfair when you're talking about a club coach, because a club coach has to kind of play big, because you have the ability to go grab players to play the style you want, versus the national team is the inverse of that. Now, granted, we can't say that Jesse Marsh can do that because he hasn't put in a position to do that, which is one of the risks that he poses by bringing Jesse Marsh in. A few risks with Jesse Marsh. A, like you said, never seen him not be a system guy. Maybe he can do it, maybe he can't. B, his teams can't play defense. His teams cannot play defense. And at the national team level, I think it often needs to be defensive first, especially when you think about tournament formats. Tournament formats obviously tend to skew towards defensive-minded teams results-wise.
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
think that's. I think that's. So I do think you're right, Jared, in the sense that we kind of don't know. I'm going to move on because we got somebody else waiting, Felix.
Thanks,
but,
Felix.
we don't know about Jesse outside of Red Bull leads following Bielsa, right? Where the personnel is set up to play in a similar way to the way he plays. I want to believe that Jesse Marsh would be able to adapt. But if you are comfortable with that style and you kind of know how to set it up,
It'll be entertaining.
You don't really know if he can break out of that. So,
is there any other team in the Premier League that you make sure you watch all the way to the 95th minute?
My other issue with Jesse, I like Jesse, and I like talking to Jesse, and I like hearing Jesse talk. But my issue with Jesse in a national team context is the man does not stop talking. He does feel like he has to be doing something all the time. He is always out there when he's not on the sideline. When he's on the sideline, he's gesticulating and he's going nuts. And when the rhythms of the international game are like skipping across the pond, I don't think that fits him, and I think that's a potential.
Wait, you're saying he's too animated for national team coaching?
No, I think he has too much energy to be sitting idle for a couple of months. I'm not saying he can't be.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, when you can't tinker with something every day, day in, day out.
Yeah,
and
I just wonder if that's too much energy to unleash on one camp.
I'll say it differently than that. At this point in his coaching career, does he want to be that idol? Yeah, oftentimes the national team, it's either a very young man's game, like you're getting in at a low-level national team game, like Bob Bradley. He's able to get into Egypt.
How about like the world champion right now? How about that?
Yeah.
How about Scaloni?
Yeah, and so you have that, or you have the other end, guys that are like older and they want that, but kind of a slower lifestyle. I think when guys are in their prime, in that 35 to 50 range, they're club coaches for the most part. You know, and I don't think Jesse Marsh thinks his time is over in Europe or otherwise at the club level.
If Jesse gets fired at Leeds, it depends on kind of how it ends. But if you get fired, obviously it's not ending well. I do wonder about his prospects, right?
Like Venezia in a week.
I do think he's sort of in the pool, and if he gets fired at Leeds, somebody somewhere in a top 2 division in Europe will give him a chance. It's not going to be a great job.
Soccer will look at him, and they should look at him.
It's going to be a reclamation. Yeah, they should. They should kick the tires on it, I guess. Here's the name, and again, this is predicated on the idea that he gets fired. So I'm not a super big fan of that. Although, look, the pool being what it is, as you said, older guys sort of done with the club game or willing to take on a slower pace, or young guys without the resume. The name Patrick Vieira came up today, as suggested to me.
He's very familiar with one American.
Well, we can talk about that in American here in a second. Obviously, spent some time here with NYCFC. I think open-minded enough as a European soccer guy not to have the issues that we imagine some European soccer guys might have.
Yeah,
in America,
definitely still short on the coaching experience train, though. Now, no one's going to question his soccer brain. He's Patrick Vieira, for God's sake.
And look, not a successful resume either, right? He's not a guy with except for NYCFC, where he coached some good soccer, but they didn't win anything.
They won a championship after he left. He built that team to an extent.
He did, but he didn't coach that team, right?
As did Claudio Reyna. We should give him some credit on that team as well. You know, that's not all.
It's not an echo of the Reyna team because it was a couple years out.
But I'm going to say this. If you're looking at an American coach, I don't look at Jesse Marsh. I look at Jim Curtin. That's why I'm looking at Jim Curtin. I would rather have Jim Curtin, and here's why between those two. Because Jim Curtin has to play like a national team coach does to an extent. Because think how often his personnel player-wise changes. They bring him up, they ship him out, and they sell him. He constantly is having to make the best of what he has, which is very similar to a national team coach. You have what you have, and you don't really have the ability to go out and grab stuff. The Philly dynamic is like he constantly sell off players, bring the next youth up, build them up, find a system, and go. And I think that translates well to the national team.
Yeah, I like the idea.
It's an internal system is what I'm saying.
I would take Jim Curtin as national team head coach. I really would. In fact, you know,
half of U.S. soccer is going to go crazy, though.
I know this isn't sexy, but I would take Peter Vermees. He wouldn't be my first choice, but I would take Peter Vermees as head coach of the national team.
Did you say that out loud?
Why is that a problem?
Good Lord. The man rocks a flat top in the 21st century. Like
oh, that part, the sexy part. I said it's not sexy. I said
he's great. He's got great coats.
He wears good suits, man.
He's got good suits.
He's got good suits.
Peter Vermees, for God's sakes, he can't. His team has been like unattractive for 20 years.
No, but he's been effective.
Come on, do you ever?
for a lot of that time? He's been effective. with the way
God,
he plays.
boring.
What do you mean unattractive? You just said that defensive soccer.
When's the last time you
wins.
watched Kansas City? You thought,
games
oh
and-
man, I can't wait for this Kansas City game to come on.
I think that Peter Vermees does more with less than
He's a
anybody
smart
else.
coach. Yeah, I agree with
In
that.
MLS, outside of Jim Curtin, but that's obviously again he gets an academy.
I'll give you that. I see what you're saying because Peter Vermees is very good at being practical with what
I'm not
he
saying
has.
he's my first choice. I'm just saying that if we're talking about domestic options and Jim Curtin's on that list, I would put Peter Vermees on that list too. I don't know if we'd go any
I don't know if you
deeper
know
than
this
that.
now, but as a soccer country, we have to have a coach with good sneakers. This is where we're at now.
Well, Peter Vermees doesn't check that box, but Jim Curtin does. I saw Jim Curtin in the wild wearing Jordan 1s, the off-white.
In the sun? You saw him in the sun?
In the wild, meaning I saw him out
He can't go in the sun.
I didn't see him on a soccer sideline coaching the Philadelphia Union. I saw him in a bar, in a hotel in
What was
Philadelphia.
he drinking? Oh.
I didn't get close enough to see what he was drinking.
What do you think
He
Jim Curtin drinks?
He presented at the coaches
What does Jim
convention.
Curtin drink? When he sits down at a bar, what does
He's
Jim
a
Curtin...
Phil-
And here's
he's a
the thing.
Philly guy.
JTT's on hold right now, and he probably knows the answer to this,
Oh, you
but I
know
don't
what?
know if he would say it or not.
I keep forgetting he's over there. Let's bring him on because he does have something to say.
Oh my goodness! I was sitting here like a bull. Is that JTT? Wait, I'm charging out. And now
Sorry,
John,
JTT.
John, don't talk over your intro. Nick had it ready to go. You're stepping on your own on your own red carpet. Actually, you're supposed to do that. All right, JTT, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. What were you saying as we were playing your intro?
I said I've been sitting here like the bull in Looney Tunes waiting to charge out.
All right, so I know you. We've got the Zendejas thing. Do you know what Jim Curtin's drink of choice is? I know that you don't partake, but do you know what Jim Curtin's drink of choice is?
I don't know what his drink of choice is, but I suspect it's more refined. Because his favorite place.
He's a whiskey guy.
I'm saying I'm not saying it's a high-end whiskey.
You think he's a middle of the road whiskey
I
guy?
think he is a Jameson neat guy.
No, you think it's an
His
Irish?
place of choice. He's Irish. His place of choice is a very nice Mexican place down in South Philly.
Oh, you think he's a mezcal guy? Like he likes
Could be a
mezcal
mezcal
drinks?
guy. Could be a mezcal guy.
That's very, very hipster to go with his shoes. I like mezcal drinks.
Should be a
Well,
mezcal.
he's got a big Nike deal.
Oh, he does.
He's got an endorsement deal with Nike.
Okay.
That got him around the rule that he had to wear Adidas.
All right, JTT, tell me all the reasons I'm wrong or right for saying that the reasons why Jim Curtin would be a good national team coach, because I know he's your pick.
No, he's not.
No,
I
he's
didn't
not?
think
I
he
thought
was.
I thought he was your pick.
Oh.
John, speak your mind. Don't let Jared put words in your mouth. Tell us what you
I
think.
figured he's
Oh,
Philly.
I have written repeatedly with Jesse Marsh's mind.
Okay.
I do not think he is a one-trick horse tactic.
But that's a hard thing to prove, John, because you haven't had the opportunity to.
He was not a presser in Montreal.
That was so early, though, John. I mean,
That's before Red Bull got their hooks in him.
yeah, he. You know,
I
he got a
Hooves.
clockwork. He got a clockwork oranged at Red Bull, and now that's who he is.
I understand that. I'm just saying I know him and people around him well enough to be fairly certain that he's not
Okay.
a one-trick horse tactically. I also am going to very intentionally play devil's advocate here. Think of Marsh in the context of people, all the people who don't know about how boring it is, and about how the U.S. never shoots, and then you have them in one quarter, and then you have the other side who says the U.S. national plays too defensive of a style. They are unsophisticated and unworthy of being on.
There's a lot of room between
So-
those extremes.
Dude, Jesse has Leeds playing like a coked out Chihuahua.
I understand that. But, I think that an attacking style would be popular. I think that he would command the players' respect. And in terms of the showman, the three of us don't necessarily need the showman stuff, but the rest of the country over the rest of the year's might.
Do you
You
want
won't mind that.
Jared? Do you want to play 6-3 games against Haiti? Because I don't know what we get out of Jared.
I would have been happy with 2-1. I would have been happy with 2-1, but we couldn't score 2 goals in most games.
This is what JTT is saying, that Jesse's team would be.
No,
a little bit more-
what I just said, the opposite. You don't have to go from boring ass missionary ball to what I just called a Chihuahua on cocaine. You don't have to go to that. There's a middle road here somewhere.
You're mixing your analogies and your metaphors, and
They're both missionary and doggy style. You heard me get it. I was right there.
all right.
JTT
all right.
is so uncomfortable now.
All right, JTT.
Why do you come on
again,
the show, JTT? I'm sorry.
It says Zendejas next to his name. Tell me what that's about.
Yes. He's going to come in. America plays a game on the 21st. He's going to go up to LA right after that, stay for a few days, play against Serbia, and then go back to LA.
Okay.
So he's got one game. He's coming in
They'll
for
go
one
back
game.
to Mexico City.
Okay. Well, it's
He's only going to play the Serbia game.
okay. So it's a
it
look. Considering the difficult timing of this, he's at least getting a look with all of that.
Anthony Hudson, U.S. Soccer sent quotes around Anthony Hudson. First,
Okay.
we're extremely grateful to the club. They've been incredibly supportive. And he actually said on the record, he was another player we wanted in but didn't think we were going to get. He's an exciting player, a technical player who plays that wide on the right or left, and has a really good finished product. And apparently the coach just spoke with Zendejas, who was, quote, just super excited to come in, and obviously has history with the youth national. That's an understatement.
Hey, JTT, when you look up and down this roster, who's the guy with 0 caps other than Zendejas, who you just mentioned? Who's the guy with 0 caps on here that you're most excited to see sometime?
It might not. I mean, it might not be a guy with 0 caps, other than potentially Slovenia.
Well, I gave you the framework, JTT.
Midfield.
Hey, don't break the rules, John.
All right, give me both. Give me both. Give me the one you're most excited for, and then give me one you're excited for with 0.
Eric Williams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Redemption. Yeah, he was looking so good for the national team before he got hurt.
Okay.
That's why the 0 caps rule doesn't apply. But Williamson behind Paxton Aronson and Alan Senora could be fun.
Okay, look, I don't think Philly fans can be bitter about this. Paxton's there. That's nice. He's getting a look. But I do think people are wondering where Leon Flock is and maybe where Jack McGlynn is, although it might be early.
I thought McGlynn was going.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's going to be in the Olympic picture for sure, right? So why do you think McGlynn might not be in this team? Just preference on the part of whoever chose? Okay.
I have no idea.
Well, you do have
I don't
Williamson. You do have Paxton Pomical. Right? These are older players. I don't know. Aiden Morris.
I mean, I would have called him in anyway. I mean, as Jim Burton said at the start of camp, the impression was that McGlynn was probably going, and that Andres Perea, who they just signed from Orlando, who's played with U.S. youth teams and the senior team once, he thought he might. So I was surprised.
Yeah, and Morgan makes a good point in the private chat too. That also Philly may be training for Champions League. They've got.
They are. So is LAFC. You know.
Yeah,
so,
and LAFC didn't want to give up their games, but at least they're not traveling. They're in the damn same city as them. You know,
that's a good point. They're in Los Angeles. That's a good point. Right. So,
I
Paxton Aronson being the lone Philly related player, but obviously not a Philly player anymore. So maybe a release issue.
Yeah, he wasn't. I was incredibly impressed that the union were going to say no then, but I don't know yet what all went on.
Okay.
I mean, I think it was very polite of Einstein to let him go for this because he knew he wasn't going to do much in the next week and a half, so they'll let him play.
All right. Jonathan Tannewald. JTT on the program. John, thank you.
I asked you guys earlier, if you know how many MLS teams Alan Senora's father played for, because I think you do, because I think you two have watched him.
We have watched him play.
What's his name?
Yes. You remember Diego Senora?
Oh, it's Diego Senora? Didn't he play for the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Or Kansas City?
Not the Galaxy. He played against the Galaxy.
Kansas City?
MLS Cup final.
This is before. So I'm aware of this deep history based on reading, not necessarily.
I know the name JTT. I just can't remember right now.
I looked it up. I cheated.
What was it?
Up. He played for Dallas. Go ahead, JTT. You want to tell him?
2 years in Dallas, 96 and 97. 98 with the Metro Stars. 99 with DC United, which is why Jared remembers him because he knows how that season ended. And 2001 with Mute.
What was
With
the
the
last
Mutiny.
one? I'm sorry.
The Mutiny. He played a couple games with the Mutiny.
Oh,
in
that
01.
01 Mutiny team. That's actually that really good Mutiny team, wasn't it? No, I'm thinking of Fusion. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Fusion.
That was the Fusion team.
I'm thinking Fusion.
The Ray Hudson Fusion team. Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
All
right,
three-time
JTT.
All-Star. Open
Wow.
Cup with Dallas in 7. Won an MLS Cup with East United in 99.
That's a nice
Yeah.
blast in the past right there.
Yeah, we'll take that history and send JTT on his way. Thank you, JTT.
Appreciate
There
what you've
goes
done for me.
Jonathan Tanner. You alluded to this a couple minutes ago, Jared, that Patrick Vieira is very familiar with at least one American player. That player is Chris Richards. Chris Richards got to start today against Manchester United because Crystal Palace had injuries at the back. And damn it, if the kid didn't play pretty well. I mean, okay, there were some moments. He could have been called for a penalty. I certainly know that our man
I didn't think that was a penalty.
Nicholas
I
Stupid
didn't think that was a
Sausage.
penalty.
100% a penalty.
How is it a penalty? He got the ball, dude.
No, he
get the
didn't.
ball. He didn't get the ball.
He
didn't
touched
get
the ball. You-
No, he did not.
He did not get the ball.
When I watch it, I see him touch the ball.
It looks like he got the ball. He did not get the ball. I'm telling you, he didn't get the ball.
Okay, so wait. You two are right, and the people that professionally look at this are
No.
wrong.
What I think happened is that in the moment the referee maybe thought he got the ball, didn't blow the whistle. The
And it
VAR
wasn't
went
clear and
back,
obvious.
and they decided it wasn't clear
So
enough.
it wasn't clear and obvious, and it ain't a penalty.
I'm saying it's more like 60-40 it's a pen, or 70-30 it's a pen, not 100% it's a pen. But whatever. He got
By the
away
way,
with
Nick,
it.
you know I grew up as a Manchester
How many-
United fan. They got
How
so
many-
many douchey looking dudes now, though. The douche level's high.
I think this is
Anthony-
about McTominay. I think this is
Anthony's a
about
douchey looking dude.
Speaking of that, that was like Chris Richards' moment. Did you see the? I didn't watch the whole
He had
game.
two of
I-
those. Him and Rashford both. He tracked both of them very
Did
well.
did you know he had those wheels on him at Chris Richards?
Yeah, I think we did know he had
Did
those
we?
wheels.
Woo! I mean, we haven't seen him in a while. I was like, oh, look at the wheels on Chris Richards.
I mean, I don't know if you watch, but on Twitter, if you go find some of the Crystal Palace fans on Twitter, they were very impressed with him as well. I think Vieira may give him some more time down the stretch here.
If he has to, he definitely can. Maybe you would expect against weaker competition than United that he would be okay, but that's not how the Premier League always works. So we shall see. Acquitted himself
Chris
really
Richards,
well.
one of the better passers out of the back that the U.S. national team has. Very good long ball out of the back. Very good, split balls through the middle. I really like him with the ball at his feet.
He got SEC speed, is what Chris Richards has. Like for Nicholas Murray dropping something like that in the chat. He's got SEC speed. You know what that is, Jared? You know what SEC speed is?
Is that like a federal organization?
Yeah, the stocks, Securities and Exchange Commission speed. That's
Yeah.
that I just watched.
Those guys are on speed.
I just watched the documentary on Madoff on Netflix. That's kind of speed that. Chris
That's how you
Richards-
spend your time?
It was fascinating. You wouldn't watch a documentary on Bernie Madoff and the biggest
I don't
Ponzi
know, man. There's a
scheme
lot of
in
other
history?
stuff. Like I don't know.
Okay,
dude.
well,
There's
hold on.
just-
I think here, listen to this part of it, because if you're not going to watch it, I can ruin some of it for you. All right, so the dude runs a Ponzi scheme for like 40 years, right? Finally gets busted. Tells his kids, his two sons who are working in his legitimate business and didn't know about the Ponzi scheme. One of them, 2 years to the day that Bernie got arrested, hangs himself. The other one dies of cancer, like 2 years after that or 4 years after that.
Dysentery.
It's just, and then obviously Bernie dies at one, in the last couple of years. Just insane, the tragedy. It's like Shakespearean levels of just, whoa, my God, it's deep. Anyway, I'm a documentary guy. You don't
I
like
like documentaries. I wouldn't have thought that one, but maybe it's good. I don't know.
they do a little bit of that dramatization thing that I'm not always a fan
I'm not a
of,
fan of that.
but they did okay with it. They didn't like lean into it. It's more like background to the
Yeah,
other.
I
to
didn't
the
fact check
experts
this.
talking.
I didn't fact check this,
What?
which is totally my style. So we'll take
Sure.
this with a grain of salt.
Okay.
Is it true that the reason To Catch a Predator isn't on anymore is because they were filming and a guy got caught and he offed himself on film?
I believe that the risk of that is why they stopped doing that show. Yes.
I think
believe
it
that's
actually.
right.
I read that it actually happened, but
It may have
maybe I'm
happened.
wrong.
I
I'm
was
wrong,
never catch a predator guy.
All I'm saying is this country was a better place when we were catching predators.
You think we stopped trying to catch predators, or you
I
just,
think we stopped making fun of them live. I mean, on TV and
I
national
just-
television.
I just wonder if we should put everything on television. They all need to
We
be
should
on
embarrass
TV.
dudes that are trying to hook up with.
yeah.
Oh, Nick's got a weighing in on pedophilia. Come on in, Nick. Nick just came out of nowhere on this topic. Go ahead, dude.
Didn't the guy Chris Hansen get popped for pedophilia?
No, I don't think that. I think that's an urban legend. I don't think so.
Oh
think-
man, if only Morgan was here to fact check
I
this
think,
while we're all
I
on the
think
air.
Chris Hansen may have had like a really bad divorce or something, but I don't think it.
You know what
was-
sucks is that at one point I was gonna do a soccer gear review show, and I was gonna call it To Catch a Predator, and like review like cleats and stuff like that.
I'm reading something about Chris Hansen.
So it took a turn.
Maybe I don't know. There's I'm not caught up on this. I can't read this article on the air. Maybe Nick's right. Maybe something happened with good old Chris.
Sorry, we
Hansen.
took a dark turn, guys.
So he was charged with. Okay, here we go. He was charged with larceny after a check bounced with a vendor who delivered promotional items.
I mean,
Hold on.
Jerry Springer's done worse than that.
So he bounced checks for nearly $13,000 worth of promotional items. That's all it says.
Jerry
That's
Springer
basically
wrote a check to a
larceny.
whore as the
While
mayor of
there.
Cincinnati,
I think they're-
Nixtown.
I think they prefer to be called ladies of the night, Jared. I think you need to check.
If you're taking checks, you get called whatever you get called.
All right. So Chris Richards has a good day out for Crystal Palace against Manchester United. Palace getting a point
Nice
out of that
segue.
game. Man, Selhurst Park sounds like a place to be. I like that. The vibes there are just off the
There's a
chart.
lot of Man U fans there. Did you hear him chanting Bruno when Bruno scored, man?
They-
There was a
they
lot
may
of Brunos coming down from the
They
stands
may,
there.
they may have. I don't think Manchester United gets to complain about anything. And Nick did admit this in the Bestie Slack. That offside call with Rashford, or the non-offside call with Rashford, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. The ball's right underneath his feet, and he doesn't touch it, so he's not offside. Come on, Jared. Come on.
I'll say this. At some point, does Weston McKinney got to crap or get off the pot with these transfers? Like,
You're
it's supposed.
segueing us hard. I
Yeah,
didn't know
we're
this
talking
was
about Americans abroad.
It's not.
Like,
It's up to him. It's not up to him.
I mean, he
It's up
turned
to
down,
you.
according to today, supposedly he turned down Aston Villa,
I don't blame him for that one.
holding out for what's being reported, either Tottenham, one other team, I can't remember if it was Chelsea or not, and Borussia Dortmund. You see him
Okay.
going back to Germany?
Sure, why not? He would boss Germany at this point. Yeah, absolutely. I could see him doing that. Yeah, why
what
not?
are they going to do with
You know
Weston
what?
McKinney when you have Jude Bellingham?
Hold on. Send him to Dortmund to let him keep Gio in check. Okay? How about that? How about we do
Weston
that?
McKinney can keep no check. He going to take him out to the club. He ain't keeping him in check.
But he would keep him. He would take him out to the club, and then in training, make sure that Gio's got his head on straight. And then obviously in his ear for national team. Oh wait, Weston had the whole thing in Nashville. I don't know what we're going with.
There's been two guys that were either almost or were sent home from camp in the last 2 years. We're about to put them on the same team.
I know. That's what Daniel Reyna should have said. Hey, you let Weston off the hook. Can you let Mike get off?
Yeah,
the
but he
hook?
suspended him first.
Oh, he did. You're right. He did. All right. He did. U.S. Women's National Team beat New Zealand 4-0 as they get ready for the World Cup. All the goals in the second half.
I was so confused, dude. I was so confused. I was like, who is this Swanson chick that keeps like scoring? But she kind of looks like Mal Pugh. Like, but I was like, is
Are
it?
you serious?
Why does she look like Mal Pugh?
Oh, that's hilarious.
I had no idea she got married.
They were joking in the press conference afterwards, where Blacko was asked about her, and he's like, "Well, it seems like Swanson's a better player than Pugh," and I guess it's like, she's two different people or something. She married a baseball player. Do you know that? Do you know
No.
that? Oh, his name. Do you know?
I figured she married into the chicken broth family.
You ready for this? This first name blows my mind.
Oh wait, Nick is so happy right now.
Okay, here we go. What we
All
got?
right, let me.
He must
hang
play
on.
for the Reds.
Oh,
No, he does not.
He doesn't play
The
for
Reds
the
don't have a team because they are terrible. I'm pretty sure, isn't this Dansby?
Dansby. His name is Dansby, Jared.
Wait, his first
Dansby.
name?
His first name is Dansby.
That's some Gatsby shit right there. That's some Gatsby shit. Like in the 1920s, the Roaring 20s, dudes were named Dansby.
He's Dansby Swanson. He
Plays for the Braves?
Dude,
your
he drove at 16 years old. He had a 3 Series BMW. I'm guaranteeing you.
If your name is Dansby Swanson, and having lived down there, I know you're either
Down
either
where?
a blue blood from Connecticut or you're from the South, and he's the latter. He's from the South. That
Like
is a-
overalls and no shirt, South,
No. Just
Or like-
okay.
or like the Butler's peels my peaches South.
This is that one. The one where maybe people in your house really like Gone with the Wind. Like maybe that.
Oh, that's
kind
a
of
problem.
Southern. I'm not saying I don't know anything about the Swansons. I'm not
It's from Kennesaw, Georgia.
He's from Kennesaw, Georgia.
But
That's what I'm
Dansby
saying.
Swanson is a damn fine
Plays for the
name,
Cubs
dude.
now, though.
He does. He
Damn
signed for
fine
the Cubs.
name.
Signed a big. I don't think he signed for the Cubs because of this. But where does Mallory play her soccer when she's with their club team?
Red Stars.
She plays for the Red Stars. So it's a Chicago situation for the Swansons. Mallory Swanson looks good.
She looked good.
Alex Morgan scored a good goal off one of the sexiest passes you're going to see. And I'm not. This is not a comment about Rose Lavelle. It's about the pass she made. That's what you want out of your
beautiful.
10.
Beautiful.
Your
The
lovely
way
little
that,
back heel.
that little back heel. I'll say this. I know Trinity Rodman missed a head ball she probably should have put in the net. I thought she looked good, though. I thought she looked really good. Good service from the wing, taking on defenders. I think
I just love both of those headed goals, the Swanson header and the Lynn Williams header. I love the sort of flashing across the defender, beating the goalkeeper far post, flick on, a little looping header. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff.
Really nice play. It feels kind of good to see a women's national team, American women's national team, actually put some stuff together for the first time in a while. And it needs to come together. They've got a few months here to start figuring out the generational problem, figure out the formation problems, figure out who the starters are on this team. It still feels like they're tinkering with it as we get close to the final curtain here.
Nothing has changed, and look, she's more than welcome to do whatever she wants to do with her life and take her time and miss a World Cup if she wants to. But they have the Ertz problem, and it's not going away. The Ertz problem is not going away.
Well, and if she comes back, it's a problem. Is she ready?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is they're past that point of, well, there's a solution here, because nobody that's stepped up or nobody that Vlatko has thrown into that role since Julie Ertz stepped aside has been good enough.
And there's people that think that Lindsey Horan can play that role, but she just isn't that player. She's not that player.
No, Lindsey Horan needs to be farther up the field to be effective.
Yeah.
Rose Lavelle has to be up there. We know she's not a 6. The way that Vlatko handled it last night was to start Taylor Korniak, and then the second half Andy Sullivan came in. Now, Andy Sullivan has long been talked about by women's soccer experts and NWSL observers as a sort of natural replacement for Julie, but she's not at that level. She's just not Ertz. Just like Kellen Acosta is not Tyler Adams. Just like nobody's Tyler Adams, right? Yeah. So how do you replace a player that is that
how do you replace a generational player
better than everybody else in the position? And maybe there's a tactical, and in fact, that was part of what happened last night, that in the first half with Korniak on the field, Horan dropped deep to get on the ball to be another ball playing outlet in that position. And they got bogged down in the middle of the field.
You may not be able to play a solo defensive mid without Julie Ertz. You may have to play a double pivot.
Yeah, you may have to lose so much, and you have to.
But
you have to protect Rose.
Can you play against England with that hole in the field?
Yeah, I don't know.
You got to try to outscore them. You got to try to outscore them then, because you're going to give up goals if you don't shore up that area of the field. The top level teams are going to dissect that part.
If you do go to a double pivot, you don't have to play a 4-3-3, Jared. You don't have to.
No,
you can change your formation too.
But then you lose that width that someone like Trinity Rodman's going to give you. You know, or you're gonna. I like Lynn Williams as a out and out old school winger in a 4-4-2 though. Like I like the idea of having Lynn Williams that speed out there on the chalk. That kind of appeals to me a little bit.
With the way that the fullback position is kind of rounding out, you could push Crystal Dunn up the field and have her play one of those wing positions too. That would be fun in a 4-4-2.
JTT points out that they did rock the double pivot in the second half last night.
They stayed in it in the second half with Andy Sullivan on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
that might be the future, and that's unfortunate because I know a lot of people don't want that. They want that three striker combo up front, but I don't know.
Any other business? I thought about playing a game, but my technical issues have thrown me out of whack. I didn't prepare any of it, Jared.
Oh.
I don't know. Remember if we played? Remind me if we played this. My memory's going. I'm old. Did we play Real Club or Fake Club, which I'm going to call Club or Counterfeit? Have we played that before? We did, right?
Maybe.
I think what we did is
you have to write the clubs though.
Well, I think what I did is I got a bunch of actual fake clubs like Asbury Park or whatever.
Oh, we did do that. Yeah, we did.
And then I gave you whether or not that was a real club or fake club. I think.
But what you want to do is embarrass me.
I want to see what your knowledge is. I don't want to embarrass.
Oh, it's low. Like, here's the thing. I only have this much bandwidth, and you have to have this much bandwidth to do what you do. And I don't have the ability to know what the third division team in Tallahassee is. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get. Well, but here's the thing. Even I, with with trying to have as much bandwidth as possible, get lost. So
what Jason wants to do is he wants to give me real teams in America.
No, not me. Okay. And I didn't prepare it, so it's not like I have all this stuff.
I'm not playing against you. You used to do a damn segment on your WNBC show called, what was it? Like Lower Class Thursdays or something? What was it?
That's when Dansby Swanson lets the servants in the house.
What was the name of the show that you had?
You still do it. It's called D Tuesday. You still do it every Tuesday.
No, you called it something else before.
No, it was D Tuesday has been the name of the Tuesday lower divisions discussion.
You called it something else.
At one point, we had Ghost of Soccer Past or something like that, where we talked.
So
about
you talk about these clubs, man. I can't play against you.
That's probably true.
It has to be a straight up. Do I know it or I don't?
True.
What was the show called that you did with Napoon with Compass Soccer?
Yeah, that was Lower League America. That's what that was.
See, you're getting outed left and right. You know all these teams.
I can talk about them if I have their names in front of me.
You probably have their scarves behind you somewhere.
Probably have a lot of those scarves. Okay, and this is negotiation time. Okay. What if we had Nikki Soup and Salad prepare that game for you to play? And hold on.
And then I got an idea for the one you have to play.
Disc golfer, real or fake?
Yes. Shout out to Simon Lizotte signing that 10-year, $10 million contract.
Well, now I know Simon Lizotte's a real disc golfer. I'm filing that one away. That's in the old noggin. Mm-hmm. It's going in there. Okay. I will
make this. I will do this on the fly with you, in the bonus show.
Sure.
Oh, can we do bonus tonight? We went long. We started late.
I may need to check on that. But the bonus show is what you get if you sign up for the Patreon at The Best Soccer Show. On Patreon, it's patreon.com/The Best Soccer Show, which I was trying to say.
Can we say the name of the game that Morgan and I played on the last bonus show?
Oh my God! You can say the name, but you cannot discuss any of the people that you brought.
I won't even tell them what the game is. I'll just tell them what the name of it was.
Nick, have the drop ready. Just have the drop ready so you can play.
The name of the game was called Packin' or Lackin'.
Jay Rodius.
Morgan's good at this game. As am I.
See, okay. I just wonder. We don't have an HR department on this show, but I just wonder. I'm just concerned. Okay, yeah. The last bonus show got out of control. I was like holding on for dear life.
Not till the end, though.
Yeah, that's true. It happened at the very.
It's like those fire escapes in New York that the bottom ladder doesn't fall and you just have to jump into the dumpster.
It's. Yeah, it's a little bit like that. It's like with Tiago. Tiago is about to be 2. Next week he turns 2. And we're now at the point where we've taken him from the high chair and given him a booster, and he sits at the table like a big boy as we eat dinner, right? And you give him food like everybody else is eating, and he is pretty good. He'll take a fork and a spoon, whatever he has, and he'll eat for the most part if he's hungry. And you're like, oh, it's good. He's eating like a big kid, and we don't have to. And you're eating your own food. And you're thinking, and then for no reason whatsoever, out of the blue, without warning, he picks up his plate and dumps it on the floor.
Oh, that's
what that bonus show was like. That's what that bonus show was like for me. That's what it was.
But then you pick up and eat it.
No. Then you try to remember the Spanish you're supposed to say when he does stuff like that, so he doesn't do it again. So you can teach him. That's what you do. All right. Anything else? Because we did run late with the start of the show, so we should wrap this bad boy up. Anything else?
I think that's it, sir.
All right. Well, thank you very much for checking us out. As always, on the Best Soccer Show, we'll talk to you guys. Stay tuned to the socials because the day of the week for the show could change. It could be in flux.
Yeah, we're figuring out what 2023 is going to bring.
Yeah. Nick, hit the music. Thank you very much.
Damn, dog, that's in a boat.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
What are we doing? The horror show.
Can you please put that noise?
It's incredible.
This place gives me the creeps.
Calm down, Greg. It's stronger. It's
Who asked those questions?
Hello, may I help you? You can sure as hell.
Jay Rodius.